Hi, my name is Jim Bach. I'd like to talk to you today about healing. Now, a little bit about my own story. I was born Catholic. I was saved at 13 by my mother at the dining room table after work at 4 o'clock at 2215 74th Court, Elmwood Park. However, my father didn't get saved, and we continued to attend Catholic Church for the next 15 to 20 years. My Uncle Mike was a fan of Kenneth Hagin, and he fed me Kenneth Hagin tapes for my only source of post-Catholic education. And I did that for about 20 years. When I graduated college, I went and bought the entire assembly. It was much cheaper then. And I've listened to them back and forth. I finally found a church after 20 years, married my wife, and I can say for that entire time that although I had listened to literally hundreds of hours of teaching on faith and healing, that I was never able to see a miraculous healing happen. I was sick just like everyone else. I got sick, I got well, I laid hands on it, I smeared oil, I did everything, and I was never able to see a miraculous healing happen. Now, if you look at Mark 11, 23 and 24, some people believe Mr. Hagin wrote this. He did not. This is Mark. It says that as they were passing by in the morning, they saw a fig tree withered from the roots up. Now, Jesus had cursed that fig tree because it didn't have figs, and he was hungry. Being reminded, Jesus said to him, "Rabbi, look, the tree which you cursed is withered." And Jesus answered them, saying, "Have faith in God." Some people say that's have faith of God. It says, "Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain," and he was referring to a literal mountain, "be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it will be granted him. Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they'll be granted to you. Whatever you stand praying, forgive. And if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father in heaven, who also forgives you your transgressions, forgive them." This is not a healing verse. It can get you healed. I'm not saying it won't, but it's not about healing. Jesus cursed a fig tree, so it could be about cursing and blessing. He's speaking about a literal mountain. He didn't say if this mountain is sick, talk to the mountain. He literally did. But there is something in this verse. This verse gives us the faith equation. Now, the faith equation, and for those of you who don't like math, don't worry, it's an easy equation. You always wonder how you could have great faith or little faith or no faith. And yet it says you're given the measure of faith. And so you're confused. How do I do it? I spent my life trying to get more faith. So how is there little faith and great faith and this and that? And I will tell you this. This is the equation. You can write this down. Faith equals belief minus doubt divided by unforgiveness. So what happens is you have belief. So if I say, you can speak to this person, they'll be healed, and you do it, you believed that you could do it. But then I say, they died. Well, now you have doubt. You say, well, it didn't work. It also brings in unforgiveness, which is the last thing. So if you have unforgiveness, it impedes your prayers. It says that your prayers are not as effective if you have unforgiveness. So those are the three elements. So you have to believe, you have to not doubt, you have to not have unforgiveness, and then you need to speak it. And that's how you have great faith. So the centurion said, you don't have to come to my house, just say the word, you'll be healed. And he said, you clearly believe and don't doubt. Because you said, just say it. It was very clear. So you can see that, whereas other people who were offended at Jesus, because he was coming to his hometown, he said, who is this Jesus? Who does he think he is? They could do very little. It says that it could do no great work, only could heal a few sick folk. So clearly, healing is not a great work. And he was still able to do it even though there was a lot of, I don't know if it was unbelief or if it was unforgiveness or if it was something else, but clearly they didn't accept what he was saying. So if we go and look at, so I just made the case that this is faith, but it's not healing. Let's look at when he sent out his 12 apostles, and then later he sent out his 70 disciples. What did he tell them? Because they went throughout the kingdom spreading the word, healing people, this and that. He says in Matthew 10:1, Jesus summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every kind of disease and every kind of sickness. I don't hear faith anywhere. Do you hear faith? I don't hear faith. I hear authority. He then says in 10:3, and as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick. Not pray for them to be healed, not have faith. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, and cast out demons. All from authority. So let me give you an example of authority. We don't have kings here, but we do have policemen, and we have the law. And so you can have a police officer who's went out drinking all night the day before, sinning like crazy, rolls out of bed, puts on his uniform, puts on his badge, walks into traffic, stands in front of your car and says, stop in the name of the law. And you stop. Not because he's holy, not because he's worthy, not because he's especially large, but because he represents the law. Because you know, if you do not obey him, the power of the law is behind him to compel you. He could draw his gun, which is power, not authority. He could call on the radio and get other police officers who would bring power to enforce the authority he's been given. Now, we don't really understand this authority because this is just one of the few examples, but people would say, I come in the name of the king. So if we look at Jesus himself, he came here and he said in John 5:43, I have come in my Father's name. He didn't say he had anything special, he had a signet ring. I have come in his name, and you do not receive him. He also said in 10:24, the works that I do in my Father's name, these testify of me. So Jesus came in the name of the Father. Now, what did he tell the 12 and the 70? He said to the 70, when they came back, he says in Luke 10:17, the 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. That's something, huh? And he said to them, I was watching Satan fall from heaven like lightning. Behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing will injure you. Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are recorded in heaven. This is an authority issue. This is not faith. Let me get some more here. Mark 16:17. These signs shall accompany those who have believed. That's you and me. That's not an apostle thing. In my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. They will pick up serpents, and if they drink any deadly poison, it will not hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover. In my name. Not a faith question. The prophet who also speaks, and there's a punishment. So, people say, they'll just staple the name of Jesus on everything they say and do. But in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 18:20, but the prophet who speaks a word presumptuously in my name, in other words, of their own volition. In other words, they just say what they believe and staple, God said so, which I have not commanded him to speak, or which he speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. That's a pretty strong statement, that the penalty for using the name wrongly is death. Now that's Old Testament, thank goodness there's not applying this today. But what I want you to research and think about and look at is healing is not faith. You are not receiving anything. You're not asking God, who's not far away, by the way, he's right here, for something. You are given authority over sickness, disease, all the works of the enemy, and you are told in my name. So I'll give you a sample. If you have someone sick and you understand the authority in the name, you lay their hands on them and you command, in the name of Jesus, sickness, leave. You don't pray about the sickness. You don't talk to other people about the sickness. You don't talk to God about the sickness. You talk to the sickness in the name of Jesus. Lester Summerall said, keep it short, don't have a conversation with the devil. So get right to the point, don't do it. It doesn't take long days, it doesn't take long hours. It just takes you to believe that you have been given authority. Now, if I gave you a badge and told you you were in charge of that and you didn't know what you were doing, you wouldn't know if you walked out in traffic. But if I explained to you and you understood that when you stand in traffic and hold your hand and say, stop in the name of the law, that traffic will stop it, you'll then understand the authority of the name. So once you've started using this name and you see people healed, you'll realize that healing is simple. In your body is very simple because you're healing yourself. There's no other unbelief to get in the way. When you're healing for someone else, you have to ask them, what do you believe? So when I pray for people, I used to just pray for them, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I didn't know why. But now, I usually say, what would you like me to pray? And so somebody's going to the doctor and they have some kind of thing they want to get taken out, that the doctor's hands will be guided and there'll be no pain and I'll full function. Well, I can try to pull them up to, you don't need to go to the doctor, we can deal with this right now, but if they're not there, then deal with them where they are. And you can certainly agree with them on that prayer. I had another lady who came up to me and I said, what do you believe will happen when I pray? And she says, I believe when 2 or 3 people are gathered together, that God's in the midst of it and it will happen as you say. That's what she believed. And so I met her where that was. And she had an injured hand, which I'm quite sure is quite healed because you could tell it was working. So I want to challenge you to go out and deal with this virus that's out there and pray for people. And don't be afraid of it. If you don't understand your authority, you need to dig on it. You need to understand there's no faith here. You're not trying to get something. You've been given something and you're charged to go out. I mean, these guys had no training. They didn't go to a course. They sat there. I mean, it was 70. It wasn't even just the 12. They sent 70 out and they went out and they came back and said, wow, the devil obeys me. People are healed. Sickness is cured. Leprosy. I mean, they went into leprosy. We're worried about a silly virus, and they had leprosy there, and they were training people. So, thanks for your time. Have a great day.